Hey everybody, this is Rydo, and we are back with another episode of the Stanley Parable. Actually, we're back with the last episode of the Stanley Parable. Uh, Let me just go ahead and ask you to subscribe now. Click on my name, Rydo. Click on my playlist after this, and after watching this episode, see all my other games and series I have. There is a lot there, a lot more to watch. So don't think this should be the end between us as YouTube viewer and YouTube creator, whatever that relationship should be. Um, we have technically two endings. We have the art ending that we're not going to do, and then we have this ending, which is one of the most difficult endings to figure out, I would say. Probably the most difficult ones, because it doesn't seem as likely. Also, we may end up beginning the game again several times because I want to get those input receiveds done. So I want to get that done before we get to the last ending. And then we'll give some final thoughts probably. Although I don't know if I've got any more final thoughts. Everything's so kind of heavy-handed as far as the narrator that to dig any deeper in knowledge from what has been said is there really doesn't feel like there's a lot more. It's just what the narrator's saying, and you take it as their opinion, and that's about it. Anyways, please turn off any ad blockers and whitelist me, or whitelist me, or do both, whatever. And definitely subscribe to my channel. Let's begin. We're looking for that
All of his
last.
co-workers were... Wait, no. This isn't the right office, is it? Is this Stanley's office?
Uh, what does he mean, is this Stanley's office? It looks like Stanley's office to me. It seems a little random, like changes are random, because we haven't run into the same dialogue as before, even though we've quit out of the game and reset. It seems more like...
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
So it might just pick random changes, and once it's done at once, it doesn't say that dialogue or do that change again. So I imagine you could play this game over and over and over again. Maybe a dozen, maybe 50 times. And
Yet there was not a single
changes.
person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Right.
Oh no, no, not again. I won't be part of this. I'm not going to encourage you. I'm not going to say anything at all. I'm just going to be patient and wait for you to finish whatever it is you enjoy doing so much in this room. Please take your time.
Yeah. So the broom closet was actually boarded off after the second time we went in it on the second game without resetting, but when I reset, the boarding off went away. So I can't say
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
I really think it's worth the investment. In a short game like this, having a voice actor redo dialogue it several times is probably fine. But in a long game where you're only going to see a cutscene once, why not just polish the one good take? Okay, we're back to the doors can be opened. Input received. Crazy elevator is back. And we can't go back. Alright, so we got the input received, but I think I need a fourth input received before. And I only got 3, so we might do that after we do this ending, which I'm gonna trigger right now. Gotta be careful. You gotta walk through these doors and then walk backwards. Right when they're closing. Come on.
Okay, I think we all...
Got it. So now we've figured out how to stay in this room, and we can now walk back down. But we cannot get into the elevator section. It's locked. So back we go. We're going all the way back to the beginning of the game. Back to Stanley's office. I suppose you could walk down and get the insane ending. Maybe? I don't know. Walk back in the broom closet. Walk back in the meeting room. I do like endings to games like this where you end up taking in the entire journey, which admittedly has been a very short journey in this game, and walk all the way back to where you started, and revisit everything you've done. A lot of sense. Alright, let's see. Check these computers. 420. Wonder if it's intentional that there is a plant right next to 420. Looking to see if I might be able to get that fourth input. I don't think I am. All these are off. And the door directly to the left of where we started in 427 is now unlocked. So figuring out this point is probably about the most difficult thing you'd have to figure out. To walk backwards when those doors were closing, and from that point walk all the way back to the very beginning to this section. More loading. I think this is actually the remastered version because they had like a quick standard definition and then a faster HD version. I would like, probably if they wanted to spend more time on it, if they remastered it again and got rid of the loading. But maybe the loading is a meta commentary. You are now leaving. Okay, let's leave. Elevator. And escape pod bay floor 760. We're on floor 754. That doesn't even make sense. Why would the numbers be in the 400s then? I thought we were on the 4th floor. That made a lot more sense. If we're on 754, that's really, really high. I wonder what the tallest building's number of floors are. I bet it's below 700 numbers of floors. Anyways, escape pod bait. Now we're on floor 755. And what do we see but an exact copy of our floor? Oh, so this is how it works. The entire building is just copy after copy after copy. 755. Let's go to 756. I bet it's another exact duplicate of our floor. Yep. These are the windows, by the way, that we crawled out of. We're looking through them now. So that definitely breaks continuity. That we could clip through it and get one ending, and now we're looking through it and getting a different ending. And smoke particles. Well, we got 4 more floors to go. Let's see what 757 looks like. Exactly the same. I assume this light here would be on really bright so it would look like that was an exterior wall when it really wasn't. Alright, 757, let's see what 758 is. Why do you even need so many copies of the floor? Just to drive people crazy. This is like one of those horror movies where you just are people think they're in the same place but they really aren't. I can't even name a horror movie like that, but I bet one exists. Same thing. Same thing. That's floor 759. Let's see what happens on floor 760. That's where the escape bay pod door, as it were, was supposed to be. 760. Escape pod launch bay. Yet another copy. Elevator. So, what is this? Is this whole building just some kind of giant spaceship? Is that what they're trying to say? Let's see. Narrator hasn't said anything in a while. I'm walking in the dark. Can't see anything. I'm spinning around. Let's just keep walking forward. Alright. Okay. It went black. I walked backwards. Okay, that was weird. I walked backwards and either I was walking away from the door frame that I had walked through before, or I was walking towards the thing. I got turned around there. So you might want to play this game again and see if that ending gives you any other ending. I'll definitely be checking that out next time. Well, on my own time, I'll check that out and see if there was any different ending.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Okay.
No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
So I wanted to get this last input. Let's see.
Stanley went around touching every little thing in the office, but it didn't make a single difference, nor did it advance the story in any way.
Input received. Good. So the last thing I wanted to do was get that input, and now I imagine what I'm gonna have to do is just begin the game again, because the last input is at Stanley's computer. Oh look, and there's the blue office again. So let's hit it. Input received. Welcome, Stanley, to heaven. I can push. Is this what heaven is? Buttons to push? Because that's what I love to do is push buttons. They're lighting and they're relighting themselves. So this is heaven. I love to push buttons. I pushed a bunch of buttons and the input was received. And it took me to heaven. You think heaven could get the buttons closer to me so I wouldn't have to run around? So no narration here, no anything. I don't think I can exit. Remember we can crouch. We used it a couple times in this game. Really the only reason the ability to crouch even exists is this is a source game, so all the characters can crouch pretty much. So I've had enough of heaven. And I have to restart again. And I can input receive again if I felt like it. I can do everything again, I suppose. Oops, didn't mean to do that. Well, I suppose this is as good a place as any to end it. We did this series in a very weird fashion. I messed it up a lot. I kind of wish I had thought now. I'm just having this thought right now. I wish I had recorded these episodes and not mentioned the previous episodes. And then I could have edited everything in a better order. Because we really should be ending on the good ending. Instead of having really our second episode, which is technically our first episode playing the Stanley Parable, since the first episode is the Stanley Parable demonstration. Uh, but yeah, the first time we played Stanley Parable, we got the best ending. Almost all the other endings have us either dying or breaking the game. And so, yeah, I didn't record this well. I didn't account for time. I didn't know how long each ending took as far as the dialogue and everything. So some of these episodes were 10 minutes long, some of these episodes were 45 minutes long. And that's really weird. I try to keep things consistent, even if they're going to be consistently long. Uh, but to get to the heart of what this game is trying to evoke, it's trying to ask a lot of questions about video games, about is pushing buttons really useful? Is it accomplishing anything? Is it worth your time? And I'm sorry, I'm just so stubborn on this point, though, that I can't even meet them halfway on what some of their arguments are. As creators, video game creators, I don't even know why they're making half the arguments. But it's worth thinking about. But I don't know. Maybe normal people shouldn't play video games as much as they do. But I certainly, as a video game YouTuber, don't consider myself to be normal. I almost never consider myself to be normal. And the thought that as a person who's trying to even make a career out of playing video games, that I would put the games down and turn them off and stop playing them is just silly. In fact, uh, I've even done it because I have developed arthritis in my hands, and I took like a whole year to 2 years off of playing any video games really, and that was right before I started doing YouTube. And now I want to play more video games. I want to catch up and I want to do it potentially for the rest of my life as far as I can. uh, and just be a bit more careful about not playing too much or too hard that it hurts my fingers. So yeah, I don't see how myself as a video gamer can put it down. There are a lot of meta commentaries on tropes in video games, and the narrator, whether was he a good guy, was he a bad guy, it depended on what ending you were doing. Was he trying to help you really, or was he trying to hurt you? Depended what ending you're on. He would change just based on whatever little choice you made, which there's very little choices in the game. You're given two doors in almost every decision. Sometimes the doors are right in front of you. Sometimes the door is to the side and one door straight ahead. Uh, Sometimes it's a little bit less obvious. The most decision we had was to back out of the boss's office uh, as far as a divergent point. Uh, that was the most difficult one to find. Uh, I kind of wish, I would say, on the Stanley Parable, that there was a actual story here, because there really is no story in this game. There's no real Stanley Parable in the Stanley Parable. It's just sometimes something happens, sometimes other things happen, but we never really get any uh, explanation or characterization of Stanley. We never get any real characterization of the narrator because he changes depending on the situation. We never get a characterization about what the world is because it changes based on whatever random decision. It just all goes in these strange different directions. Uh, yeah, you'd think there was more to say, but there really wasn't because the game says it all. They say their perspective. Some of it I kind of get. Some of it I kind of agree with. Some of it I completely disagree with. And I don't really have much of a need to even argue with it. My argument against a lot of their turn games off, stop wasting your life on it are just, but video games are fun, and people should seek out as much fun as they can while still living their life responsibly. And I guess that's as good of a point to end on as anything else. Video games are fun, and people should seek out as much fun as they can while still living their life responsibly. Anyways, I don't know what the series I'm going to do to replace this is. There certainly isn't a third series that has a unique narration mechanic that I can think of. Uh, this is definitely very, very different from Bastion. It's almost night and day from Bastion. Bastion was a real game, where this was more of an art piece video game. I'll still call it a game, but it was very much an art piece trying to make a commentary, much more than trying to make a fun experience, because there really was no hugely fun experiences in this. The most fun I ever had was just irritating the narrator and uh, getting reactions out of him. Uh, Very, very different ways to do it. I would definitely want to see a lot more games like Bastion where the narrator occasionally comments on what the player has done and makes them feel involved. Whereas the narrator in the Stanley Parable kind of makes you feel less involved in the world. It breaks the third wall and pushes you out and says, "Oh, you're a player, and oh, you're listening to me, and you're gonna do what I say." Uh, so it makes you less wrapped up in the world and less immersed, as it were. Anyways, well, let's wrap up this series. Remember, you can click on my name, Rydo. That'll take you to my main YouTube page. Right there is the subscribe button, and on the right is a blue button to support this channel. Any amount you can donate through that would be greatly appreciated. That helps me afford to buy new games. Um, I have a great desire to start covering newer and more relevant games instead of pretty old games, which a lot of my series are right now, as I'm going back and doing games that I've played before and already own. So new games are going to come. The more donations I can get, the more support through people watching my series and looking at the ads, that helps too. Um, New games will be coming eventually. I assume my channel will be almost all new games, with maybe every now and then a retrospective old game. Uh, Friend me on Steam. You can certainly gift me any Steam games if you happen to have copies or uh, something like that. I know a lot of times people end up with duplicates of games they already own, so friending me on Steam, helping me that way really helps out. Follow me on battle.net, friend me on that. That's for Hearthstone, which is the series I do. It is the series where I talk about what's going on in my life and on my channel. So if you watch like the tutorial, then skip to the newest one, you'll get the most up-to-date information because I'll just be playing this online card game and talking about what's going on. Uh, and if you friend me on battle.net, I might actually invite you to play and show up on one of my episodes if I have some extra time. Uh, Follow me on Google Plus and Twitter. All of that helps me with those services, gets me in front of more people's eyes. It allows you a different avenue to see when new episodes are out. If you subscribe, uh, that really will help you too on YouTube. If you subscribe to the channel, you'll be up to date when new episodes come out. But you should pretty well know that I I release everything Monday through Friday at 12 noon Central Time. So there's usually 3 or 4 series that are going to get a new episode uh, right there at noon. Watch my other series. Look at my playlists. I have a bunch of series I've already completely finished, like I'm finishing this one now. And so you can go back and watch those. If you didn't see all the episodes to this, go back and watch them. Definitely. Hmm. Share this video with your friends. Comment. I've said subscribe several times. And watch every second of my videos. That helps me out. That helps out anybody on YouTube. If you want to support them, don't like close the window after 5 seconds. Sit there and let it play. That will help everyone out. As long as it's a good video and you want other people to see it, watch all of it. In fact, you can even go back and rewind it and watch it again. That helps them even more. It's a very weird system. Hmm. And I guess that's about it. I thought the Stanley Parable would be a bit more impactful for me, but it wasn't. I'm surprised by that, really. I guess that's what I'm going to take away from it more than anything else. Uh, if you play this game, I'd recommend you begin the game again a lot when you're done playing it, just to see uh, if he starts saying different things, what kind of random things you can get from him. Also, play this all the way through. Uh, just don't close the program. If you have to alt tab or pause it like I certainly did between recordings, just don't close it, and then you won't get any really repetitive elements where we kind of did, because I did exit out a couple times. Anyways, there's definitely some endings. You can Google an ending chart. There's some there's the art ending. We didn't do that, and then there's some sub endings like this that don't reset. Uh, so you have to manually go back and reset them. Uh, we missed a couple of those. So there's still some more stuff to do it. I would recommend people get this game if this interested you at all. If you went through here and want to play it ever, um, I'd say go ahead and get it and have your own experience with it. but there's not much more than what you saw. Uh, so don't expect anything beyond what you saw really to be much different. Hmm. Well, I guess that's about it. Thank you for watching this series. Thank you for supporting me. Have a good evening.